The acting Chief Justice has given a masterpiece of a speech. I think he had spied on some of my notes. This is because one of the points that seems to bedevil the judicial system in the country, and as a consequence also affect the maintenance of law and order, is an ideological divergence. There is an ideological divergence, and I'm glad the acting Chief Justice really talked about it in that very comprehensive speech. There is an ideological divergence between some of us and some of the judiciary. We, the fighters for freedom, or freedom fighters, in my opinion, the purpose of the judiciary is first to protect life. I shouldn't die if God has not. I should not die because of actions of other people. That's number one. If you have got a judicial system which protects life, you can be sure of stability in the country. The judicial system must protect property. The judicial system must protect freedom within the law, freedom within the law. The judicial system must protect stability, so that there is no unnecessary buvuyo, as we say in our language. The judiciary must protect morality according to the law. And the judiciary must protect governance according to the Constitution. I think if you do these seven, you will get stability in the country. Now, the national resistance movement is very strong on all these points. Fortunately, in this room, there are those who are with me, with us, in the student systems of the 1960s. They know our position on each of these. You talk of dictatorship, you know our credentials there. You talk of all these 7 points. The NRM is very, very strong on each one of them. Especially the protection of life. There really is a deal breaker. Would never have fought Idi Amin or Obote if he was not killing people extrajudicially, detaining people or other things we could have tolerated. But killings was a deal breaker. That's why we went out to smash them, and we smashed them. So therefore, in our own times, to see the judiciary relaxed on the issue of protection of life is really a big problem. Life, because if I die, it's finished, I'm dead. If there are other problems, I would have a chance to correct them, but once I am dead, I am dead. So therefore, our legal system and our judicial system should not tolerate those who kill people. I can tell you, if you don't do that, the country will not be peaceful. You will suffer a fundamental disequilibrium. Nobody will have faith in the system. I've told you a story in the past, how my parents used to talk about the British system. When the British were here, the British had a lot of problems. They were doing nothing. The British were really doing nothing in terms of development. Nothing, very little. I always hear people talking, the British did, what did they do? Nothing. In 1961, when I went to S1, there were only 5 A-level schools in the whole of Uganda. Maybe 4 A-level schools in the whole of Uganda. These were Kisubi, Budo, Ntare, and I think Gayaza. Maybe Gayaza also. I'm not sure whether it was A-level by that time. You can check. There were only 3 or 4 A-level schools in the whole of Uganda. And that was on the eve of independence. Only 3 A-level schools, I'm telling you. ADEC, we call it in Achori. So what development was there? But what the British had done was to stop the extrajudicial killings. That's the only thing they had done. Not in Karamoja, they failed to manage Karamoja. That one they failed. But in the rest of the country, they had succeeded in introducing law and order. So much so that I remember my parents would say that although that one was also, of course, mixed up with the effectiveness of investigation of the police, it was not just the judiciary, it was judiciary and police. Those Manyankore would say, abazungu nibagambisa omutugumfu, that if you kill me, the British, the Europeans will take my head when I'm already dead and ask it, say, who killed you? And the head will say, it is so and so who killed me. Because the head would have seen who killed. You can see how much they believed in the effectiveness of the British investigative and judicial system. So this one here, I think, is a problem. Well, it is partly a problem of investigation, a problem of the police. But even when the investigations are well done, there is an ideological problem in the judiciary. Recently, we had killings in Mayuge, Namayingo, and Wujiri. And the people were really frightened. People were frightened. But what was the problem? The problem was that people who are killing these people had been arrested and released by the court system. That's the truth. They were released or given light sentences or what? Those people working, we have arrested them again. There is one who is still missing, but we have arrested all the others. But all of them had been arrested and set free, or given lenient sentences. And now this becomes a problem. What do we do? And yet we really were very conscious about all this. All the 7: life, property, freedom, stability, morality, and governance. In the Constitution of 1995, we gave them balanced treatment. Some of the judicial officers pretend that they are on the side of freedom. Freedom at the expense of everything else. And in so doing, you undermine freedom itself. In the 1995 Constitution, I'm glad Justice Kavuma was talking about that Constitution, because that's our fundamental document. I know the priest judge, the one who prayed for us. She was talking about the Bible and Moses and all those. But I think you, in the judiciary, you have what we call domestication. So for us, we domesticated the Bible into our own constitution. When you commit an offense, you are not going to refer to the book of Leviticus to convict an accused person. You have to go to the Constitution and to the law. But we had really captured most of the points the judge was talking about. For instance, in the old Constitution, there was the provision of detention without trial, what they were calling preventive detention. By the time we came into government, that law was still on the books. But even when that law was on the books, I only used it once to detain a man called Sarah Muanga, who had been insulting the army from Sweden. That's the only detention I signed for him. Otherwise, we never used that law, what they were calling preventive detention. And in the 1995 Constitution, we abolished it. We removed it. So that shows you our position on the issue of freedom, one of the 7. On the issue of remand, in the old Constitution, they used to provide that you could be on remand for 360 days. As long as you are brought to court and you charged and you could go on going and coming back. But in the new Constitution, we said, no, that's too long, only 180 days. I was asking my young lawyer there, and she was telling me that is Article 23, 1C. That's what she told me. I don't know whether it is right or not. So we are very conscious about the issues of freedom. But freedom cannot be at the expense of other people's lives. That I want my freedom so I can kill people. And when there is strong suspicion that I am the one who may have done it, then it is too long for me to stay in prison continuously without bail for half a year. What is the wage scale? How can you weigh somebody's life with 6 months? If there is a strong suspicion that I participated in killing somebody, staying in coming and going in jail for 6 months, half a year. Is that really too much? For somebody who is suspected of killing another person, of rape. In the NRA, you rape a woman, we shoot you. You cannot rape an African woman, or any woman for that matter, if she's in Uganda. Defilement. Because especially these days, all those things mean a death sentence. Defilement normally will go with AIDS. Rape will normally go with AIDS. That fellow has condemned to death that person, that woman. And you bring him here and you give bail before the 180 days. What are you after? Are you doing what Kavuma is talking about? The aspirations. You know, he quoted all that big chapter of the Constitution. What do the people of Uganda aspire? Aspire for? For whom are you working? Are you working for yourself? Or for some other imaginary group? Or are you working for these customers, the Ugandans, who want a strict system to protect life, to protect property, but and of course also protect freedom. Freedom is already protected. You are suspected of killing people. You are suspected of infecting people with AIDS. You are suspected of all those serious crimes, defiling children. You will not stay in remand for more than 180 days. If the government will not, if the prosecution will not prove their case, you will go. But why give somebody bail within the 180 days? What interest are you looking for? So that's the biggest issue I see in the judicial system of Uganda today. We in the army, we have been very, very strict, and that's how you get this peace, because we are very strict. With the army, you kill people, we punish you very seriously. All these developments you see here, like this, I didn't know there was a new hotel here. When I came, I found it here. This is all due to the stability. There are now 3 big hotels here in Entebbe, apart from the small ones. People are coming here because of stability. They are investing. But that stability is disturbed by this, not by insurgency. Nobody can organize insurgency in Uganda and survive. We shall defeat him, as we have done. Nobody will the cattle rustlers. In Karamoja, do you know how many guns we removed from the cattle rustlers? 40,000 rifles. The old Uganda army of Obote was only 8,000. Amin's army was 20,000. But the Karamojong had 40,000 rifles in their homes. We have removed every one of those. So there's no danger from terrorism, there's no danger from cattle rustling, banditry, but the problem now is law and order. Simple crime of killings. We even had a case where somebody had killed his wife, a boy who was in parliament, killed his wife, was given a bail, he came back to parliament. remember I had to write to his lordship, Odoki, please. You are going to incite some of us to do some extrajudicial actions. Because we will also be incited to do extrajudicial actions. So the boy eventually was tried, and I don't know what happened to him. He's there in that hotel, the prison. I also don't know why you don't pass death sentences on some of these people. 10 years, 15 years. Why you give him 15 years? He killed a person. Why doesn't he go also to there where what is the legal position? Why do you not sentence these people to death so that the president is the one who may forgive them? Like the case of that boy, this one who killed his wife. Why was he not given a death sentence? What is the logic? I would really like to know what is the point. If it is proven that he committed murder, because I know the standard of proof is very high, he's in this. He's on the ceiling there. Okay, if the ceiling has been reached, then why don't you condemn this person to death? But you had that situation. Somebody had killed a person, he was in parliament. Why? Because 180 days is too long for some of the freedom fighters who are in the judiciary. The ones who believe in freedom at the expense of everything else. This really is a problem. So, it was beginning to become a problem in eastern Uganda. These fellows were killing people. When I went there the other day, people, of course the policemen had also their own problems, not doing a thorough investigation. But there was also the problem of laxity in judging those people. In the villages, you also have problems. You are talking of, your theme is a good one, transforming Uganda economically. Apart from murder, which must be punished severely and strictly, there is the issue of commercial justice. If you want to contribute to the economy of the country, you must be very alert on the issue of commercial justice. I can understand that some of the lawyers may be commercially illiterate. They don't know what it means for a businessman to be in court for half a year. That fellow will go bankrupt. You delay. Like recently, I was having a quarrel with the CA. I think the people in CA don't know much about business. I hear some of them are engineers and so on. But they grounded Air Uganda. You remember we had an airline? They grounded it. That it had this, there was this, there was this. They grounded another of our companies called Uganda Air Cargo. Those companies are bankrupt now. So I asked the engineer, why didn't you warn them? Why didn't you warn these groups? There is this problem, there is this problem. I give you 3 months to solve it. And also consult some of us, because you keep talking of stakeholders. I thought I was also a stakeholder. in my job as president, I misunderstood it. I thought I was also a stakeholder. If you are going to ground this on an airline, which we have, okay, that it is the responsibility of CAA, independence, that CAA are independent, like the judiciary is independent. Okay, you are independent, but why don't you inform some of the relatives? Because in my home, I am independent. But when I want to marry off my daughter, I call Sare. I say, some people have come here. They want my daughter. This does not remove my independence. By informing Sare, so that he also knows. After all, when we are writing letters, we say copy two.